Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brother and sister, welcome back to Islamic Notes channel. The Dominican Republic, a country located in the Caribbean, is better known for its Spanish heritage and its predominantly Catholic population. However, Islam has an interesting historical footprint in the country, although its population is still relatively small compared to other religions. The journey of Islam in the Dominican Republic is closely linked to migration, trade, and the development of a Muslim community that has continued to grow over time. The Dominican Republic, a country known for its beautiful beaches and strong Latino culture, is now witnessing a remarkable spiritual awakening. Thousands of its citizens have chosen to convert to Islam in recent years. This phenomenon has attracted the attention of many, both domestically and in the Islamic world. This article will discuss the factors driving this phenomenon, what life is like for Muslims in the Dominican Republic, and the challenges and hopes of the country's rapidly growing Muslim community. History and background of Islam in the Dominican Republic. The history of Islam in the Dominican Republic began in the early 16th century, closely linked to the African slave trade during the Spanish colonial period. In 1492, Genoese explorer Christopher Columbus, funded by the Spanish crown, arrived on the large island in the western Atlantic Ocean, then known as Hispaniola, now Haiti and the Dominican Republic. In 1502, the slave trade began in the region, with many of the slaves brought from West Africa, a region that at the time had a significant Muslim population. The first wave of slaves to arrive in Hispaniola included the Muslim Wolof group from West Africa. Although they were forced to convert to the local majority religion, many of them secretly maintained their Islamic beliefs. In 1503, Nicolás de Ovando, the governor of Hispaniola, wrote to Queen Isabella requesting that the shipment of African slaves with knowledge of Spanish or Portuguese language and culture be stopped, as they were considered a source of trouble and some of them had escaped from their owners, establishing maroon communities in the mountains. On December 28, 1522, the first large-scale slave revolt in the Americas was led by a group of Muslims. The revolt took place on the sugar plantation of Admiral Don Diego Colón, son of Christopher Columbus. Although the revolt was eventually crushed, it marked the end of the Muslim slave trade on the island and reduced the Muslim presence for years to come. After this period, the Muslim population in the Dominican Republic declined drastically and was virtually unheard of for several centuries. It was not until the 20th century that Islam re-emerged in the country through the arrival of immigrants from the Middle East, primarily from Lebanon, Syria, and Palestine, as well as from Pakistan and other South Asian countries. They came in search of economic opportunities and a better life, bringing with them their Islamic traditions and beliefs. In the 1990s, the Muslim community in the Dominican Republic began to become better organized. The Círculo Islámico de República Dominicana, Islamic Circle of the Dominican Republic, was founded as the organization that led the Muslim community in the country. They built the first mosque in downtown Santo Domingo, known as the Al-Noor Mosque. The mosque serves as a center for prayer and community activities and offers Islamic study classes for women and children on weekends. It also provides free medical consultations and a free pharmacy, known as the Al-Fatori Consultant, located in a separate building behind the mosque. In addition to the Al-Noor Mosque, there are several other mosques in the Dominican Republic. For example, in the Los Llanos neighborhood of San Pedro de Macorís, there is a mosque led by an imam who is a Dominican convert. In the city of Santiago de los Caballeros, there is the Al-Hidayah Musalla, which provides Friday prayers. In addition, the Al-Nabawi Musalla in Bávaro Punta Cana serves a local Muslim community and tourists in the tourism sector in the east of the country. Although Islam is a minority religion in the Dominican Republic, the Muslim community has made significant contributions in various fields, including medicine, business, and social services. They have established clinics in cities such as Constanza and Jarabacoa and are involved in various business ventures such as mobile phone shops, restaurants, and economic consulting. Today, the Muslim population in the Dominican Republic is estimated at between 3,000 and 4,000, including a number of Dominican converts. Although small in number compared to the overall population, the Muslim community in the Dominican Republic continues to grow and play an active role in society, while maintaining its religious identity and traditions. The Dominican Republic, which shares the island of Hispaniola with Haiti, has a long history of being dominated by Catholicism. Since the Spanish colonial era, the religion has been an integral part of people's lives. However, in recent decades, there has been a growing interest in Islam, especially among young people seeking spiritual answers outside of their traditional teachings. Islam is not exactly new to the Caribbean. History records that during the Atlantic slave trade, many slaves from West Africa who were brought to the Americas were Muslim. However, due to colonial pressures and policies, many of them lost their Islamic identity. It is only in the last few decades that Islam has re-emerged in the region, including in the Dominican Republic. Factors driving the growth of Islam. There are several main factors that have led thousands of Dominicans to convert to Islam: the search for meaning in life. Many Dominicans feel that modern life is full of stress and materialism. They seek something more meaningful and find Islam as a religion that offers peace, discipline, and closeness to God. Impact of media and the internet. With the increasing access to the internet, many Dominicans are starting to learn about Islam through social media, online lectures, and content from Muslim scholars. The stories of converts from various parts of the world who have found peace in Islam also inspire them. Dawa and social activities. Several Muslim organizations, both local and international, are active in dawa in the Dominican Republic. They hold seminars, provide social assistance, and teach Islam to the community with a peaceful and inclusive approach. Interest in Islamic culture. Some Dominicans are also attracted to Islamic culture, especially the aspects of family, morality, and strong social solidarity. They see Islam as a religion that provides clear and harmonious guidelines for life. The journey of converts in the Dominican Republic. Many converts in the Dominican Republic have inspiring stories. One interesting story is about a former Catholic priest who decided to convert to Islam after years of studying various religions. He claimed to have found answers to his spiritual questions in Islamic teachings. In addition, there are also stories of young people who were previously trapped in a life full of sin, but then found a new path in life after learning about Islam. They felt a big change in their lives, both spiritually, morally, and socially. However, their journey was not without challenges. Some of them faced pressure from their families and the surrounding community. Some also lost their jobs or were ostracized because of their decision to convert to Islam. Even so, many of them remained steadfast in their beliefs and even became pioneers in spreading Islam in their communities. Early history of the entry of Islam. Islam first arrived in the Caribbean region, including the Dominican Republic, through two main routes: the exploration of the Moors who had influence in Spain and the arrival of Muslim slaves from West Africa brought by European colonizers. In the 16th century, when Spain ruled the region, some Muslim slaves from the Mandinka, Hausa, and Fulani tribes were brought to Hispaniola, the ancient name for the island now occupied by the Dominican Republic and Haiti. Unfortunately, many of them were forced to abandon their Islamic beliefs and adopt Catholicism in accordance with Spanish colonial policies. Nevertheless, some Islamic teachings were secretly inherited in the form of certain traditions and cultures. Muslim migration to the Dominican Republic. The wave of Muslim migration to the Dominican Republic increased in the 20th century, especially with the arrival of immigrants from the Middle East and South Asia. Many of them came from Lebanon, Syria, and Palestine, fleeing conflicts in their home countries. These immigrants generally came as traders and businessmen, seeking a better life in the Caribbean region. Although small in number, the Muslim community in the Dominican Republic began to grow, especially in large cities such as Santo Domingo, Santiago, and La Romana. They formed small groups that later developed into more organized communities. The development of modern Muslim communities. In the late 20th and early 21st centuries, the Muslim community in the Dominican Republic grew thanks to the arrival of local converts and Muslim migrant workers from various countries. Some factors that support the development of Islam in this country include construction of mosques and Islamic centers, Currently, there are several mosques and Islamic centers in the Dominican Republic, such as the Al-Noor Mosque in Santo Domingo, which serves as a center of worship and Islamic education for the local Muslim community. This mosque is a place for Muslims to perform congregational prayers, attend Islamic classes, and celebrate Islamic holidays such as Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. Dawa and conversion of local communities. As access to information and interaction with the global Muslim community increases, more and more Dominicans are interested in learning about Islam. Some of them eventually decide to convert to Islam. Islamic dawa is carried out by various local Muslim organizations, as well as through social media and other digital platforms. Influence of foreign Muslim students and workers. A number of Muslim students from Africa, the Middle East, and Asia studying in the Dominican Republic also play a role in spreading Islam among the local community. In addition, Muslim workers from countries such as Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Morocco, who came to work in the trade and service sectors, also introduced Islamic values to local residents. Challenges facing the Muslim community. Despite the growth of Islam in the Dominican Republic, the Muslim community still faces several challenges, including small number and lack of Islamic infrastructure. With a very small population, estimated to be less than 0.1% of the total population, the Muslim community often faces difficulties in building adequate mosques, Islamic schools, and community centers. Lack of public understanding of Islam. The majority of the Dominican Republic's population is unfamiliar with Islam, so there are still many misunderstandings and negative stereotypes. Some Muslims in the country experience mild discrimination or prejudice due to the lack of public knowledge about the true teachings of Islam. Access to halal products. One of the main obstacles for Muslims in the Dominican Republic is the difficulty of obtaining halal food. Because the country is predominantly Catholic and its culinary culture is heavy on pork and alcohol, Muslims often have difficulty finding halal restaurants or products in local markets. Despite these challenges, the Muslim community in the Dominican Republic remains optimistic about the future of Islam in the country. Some of the steps being taken to strengthen the Muslim community include increasing dawa and education. Local Islamic organizations are trying to expand dawa through seminars, online classes, and the distribution of Islamic literature in Spanish. Development of Islamic infrastructure. Efforts are being made to build more mosques and community centers to support the development of Islam in the Dominican Republic. Partnership with the global Muslim community. The Muslim community in the Dominican Republic is connecting with international Islamic organizations to gain support in community development and Islamic education. Islam in the Dominican Republic has a long history that began during the colonial era, developed through migration, and continues to grow in the modern era. Although the Muslim community is still small and faces many challenges, they continue to strive to maintain their Islamic identity and introduce the religion to the wider community. With increasing awareness and understanding of Islam, the future of Muslims in the Dominican Republic has the potential to grow even more rapidly in the years to come. Muslim life in the Dominican Republic. With the increasing number of converts, the Muslim community in the Dominican Republic is growing. Mosques and Muslim community centers are starting to appear in several major cities such as Santo Domingo and Santiago. The Muslim community there actively holds congregational prayers, Islamic studies, and social activities to help others. In addition, there are efforts to introduce Islam to the wider community through activities such as Islamic cultural festivals, Arabic language classes, and interfaith dialogue. Several halal restaurants have also begun to emerge, meeting the needs of Muslims there. However, there are still many challenges faced. For example, the lack of access to formal Islamic education, the difficulty of obtaining halal food, and the negative stigma that still sticks to Islam due to the lack of public understanding. Hope and future of Islam in the Dominican Republic. Although still facing various challenges, the development of Islam in the Dominican Republic shows a bright future. With the increasing number of converts and increasing public awareness of Islam, it is hoped that the Muslim community there can continue to grow and become an integral part of the country's social life. Islamic organizations also need to continue to support converts by providing Islamic education, social assistance, and adequate places of worship. In addition, more intensive interfaith dialogue can help reduce the negative stigma against Islam and strengthen social harmony in the Dominican Republic. The phenomenon of thousands of Dominican citizens converting to Islam is proof that Islam is a universal religion and can touch the hearts of anyone who seeks the truth. With the increasing number of Muslims in the country, the challenges and opportunities for the Islamic community are also increasing. However, with a wise approach, peaceful preaching, and a commitment to building a strong and inclusive community, Islam can continue to grow in the Dominican Republic and become part of the country's spiritual wealth. The development of Islam in the Dominican Republic has a long history that began in the colonial era and continues to grow to the present day. Early history of the arrival of Islam. In 1492, a Spanish expedition led by Christopher Columbus landed on the island of Hispaniola, now divided into the Dominican Republic and Haiti. Since 1502, the African slave trade began to the region. Many of these slaves came from West Africa, where Islam had flourished in the 16th century. They brought their culture and religion with them to the New World. In 1522, the first large-scale slave rebellion in the Americas occurred, led by a group of Muslims on a sugar plantation owned by Admiral Don Diego Colón, the son of Christopher Columbus. This rebellion marked the end of the Muslim slave trade to the island and reduced the presence of Islam for years to come. The development of the modern Muslim community. After the colonial period, waves of immigration from the Middle East, especially from Lebanon, Syria, Palestine, and Pakistan, brought additional Muslim populations to the Dominican Republic. Although their numbers are relatively small compared to the total population of the country, the Muslim community began to form organizations and places of worship to meet their spiritual needs. One of the main organizations is the Círculo Islámico de República Dominicana, which established the first mosque in downtown Santo Domingo called the Masjid al-Nur. This mosque serves as a center for religious and social activities for the local Muslim community. In addition, there is the Entidad Islamic Dominicana, EID, an organization led by converts born in the Dominican Republic, which is active in Islamic preaching and education, spread and infrastructure of Islam. In addition to the Masjid al-Nur in Santo Domingo, there are several other places of worship that serve the Muslim community in various regions. For example, in the Los Llanos neighborhood of San Pedro de Macorís, there is a mosque led by a local convert imam. In the city of Santiago de los Caballeros, there is the Musalla al-Hidayah, which provides Friday prayers. In the tourist area of Bávaro Punta Cana, there is the Musalla al-Nabawi, which serves the spiritual needs of Muslim tourists. Challenges and future prospects. Although the Muslim community in the Dominican Republic is still a small minority, estimated at around 0.02% of the total population, or around 3,000 people, they have shown positive dynamics in maintaining their religious identity and practices. The main challenge they face is the lack of understanding of Islam among the wider community and the stereotypes that may exist. However, through education, interfaith dialogue, and active participation in society, the Muslim community is working to increase understanding and acceptance of Islam in the Dominican Republic. Overall, despite the challenges, the Muslim community in the Dominican Republic continues to grow and contribute to the country's cultural and religious diversity. Islam is a minority religion in the Dominican Republic, a predominantly Roman Catholic country. According to estimates by Círculo Islámico, there are between 3,000 and 4,000 Muslims in the country, including a number of local converts. History of Islamic presence. The history of Islam in the Dominican Republic began in 1502, when African slaves were first brought to the island of Hispaniola, now known as Haiti in the Dominican Republic. They arrived bringing with them a rich and ancient culture, although brutal oppression and forced conversions gradually eroded their original cultural and religious identity. Development of the Muslim community. The Muslim community in the Dominican Republic grew with the arrival of immigrants from the Middle East, primarily Lebanese Arabs, Syrians, Palestinians, as well as immigrants from Pakistan and other parts of the Indian subcontinent. Although small in number, the community plays an active role in various economic sectors, including medicine, business, and economic consulting. Organizations and places of worship. The Islamic Circle of the Dominican Republic is the main organization representing the Muslim community in the country. They established the first mosque, the Al-Noor Mosque, in downtown Santo Domingo. The mosque is open daily for the 5 daily prayers and offers Islamic study classes for women and children on weekends. They also provide free medical consultations and a free pharmacy located behind the mosque. In addition to the Al-Noor Mosque, there are several other mosques and prayer rooms throughout the country. For example, in the Los Llanos neighborhood of San Pedro de Macorís, there is a mosque led by a Dominican convert imam. In the city of Santiago de los Caballeros, the Al-Hidayah Mosque provides Friday prayers. Meanwhile, in the tourist area of Bávaro Punta Cana in the east of the country, the Al-Nabawi Mosque serves local Muslims and tourists. Challenges and hopes. Despite being a minority, the Muslim community in the Dominican Republic is active in preserving and promoting Islamic values. They try to counter negative views of Islam by demonstrating the goodness, values, and virtues taught in their religion. For example, the Al-Noor Mosque serves as a positive representation of Islam in a predominantly non-Muslim society. In addition, some local Muslims, such as Ibrahim Earl Charles, who converted to Islam in the late 1970s, have served as mentors to many local Muslims and have contributed to the spread of dawa on the island. Overall, despite its small size, the Muslim community in the Dominican Republic continues to grow and strives to maintain its identity and positive contribution to the wider society. History of the presence of Islam. The history of Islam in the Dominican Republic began in the early 16th century with the arrival of African slaves brought by Spanish colonizers. In 1502, slaves from West Africa arrived on the island of Hispaniola, now known as Haiti and the Dominican Republic. They brought with them their culture and religion, including Islam. However, brutal repression and forced conversions gradually eroded their original cultural and religious identity. In the 19th and 20th centuries, waves of Middle Eastern immigrants, primarily from Lebanon, Syria, and Palestine, arrived in the Dominican Republic. They came in search of economic opportunities and brought with them Islamic traditions. Additionally, in the 1980s, Muslim medical students from Pakistan, Bangladesh, India, and South Africa arrived to study at Dominican universities, adding to the diversity of the country's Muslim community. Communities and religious life. The Muslim community in the Dominican Republic is led by organizations such as the Círculo Islámico de República Dominicana. They established their first mosque in downtown Santo Domingo, known as the Al-Noor Mosque. The mosque serves as a center for worship and community activities, offering the 5 daily prayers, Islamic study classes for women and children on weekends, and free medical consultations through a clinic located behind the mosque. In addition to the Al-Noor Mosque, there are several other mosques throughout the country. For example, in the Los Llanos neighborhood of San Pedro de Macorís, there is a mosque led by a Dominican convert imam. In Santiago de los Caballeros, there is the Al-Hidayah Musalla, which provides Friday prayers. Meanwhile, the Al-Nabawi Musalla in Bávaro Punta Cana serves local Muslims and tourists in the country's eastern tourism sector. Developments and challenges. Despite its small size, the Muslim community in the Dominican Republic is significantly dynamic. They are active in a variety of economic sectors, including medicine, business, and economic consulting. However, like Muslim communities in other non-Muslim majority countries, they face challenges in maintaining their religious identity and practices. Efforts to counter negative views of Islam are made through the representation of the values of goodness and virtue taught in religion, as well as through active involvement in the wider community. Overall, despite being a minority, the Muslim community in the Dominican Republic continues to grow and contribute positively to society while maintaining their religious identity and traditions.